Welcome into the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Andrews. We appreciate you joining us here on this Thursday. Got a pretty packed show for you. Lots of rumors/news to get to. Talking about the latest on Rashee Rice, what's going on with him. A trade for Brandon Aiyuk. Is that something the Chiefs are interested in or could even pull it off? Who will the Chiefs pick in round number 1? Got some actual odds for what position they might be looking at. Plus, there's a crazy draft trade rumor that I want to present to you and show off. And then Charles O'Menahue posted on Twitter, looks like he's back and maybe he'll be better before we expected him to. We'll bring you the latest on that. Before we get into the show, though, I'd really appreciate if you could share this video on Twitter. We're trying to grow the Chiefs Report as much as humanly possible. Going up to the draft, then obviously after that, going to be a little bit of a slow season, so I want to grow now. That way we can have a lot of people watching over the summer because we're still going to have coverage here. We're still going to have amazing stuff going on, and I promise you're not going to miss it, and I hope your friends won't either. So if you share this video on Twitter, guess what? I'm going to retweet it, I'm going to like it, and hey, maybe I'll even give you a follow. So just share it and tag me at JaceAndrews_. I'm sharing everybody who will help me out in this, or rather retweeting everybody who helps me out in this. Let's talk Rashee Rice, because after Rice was involved into the accident, he's actually now back onto the field in some ways. Now, the latest on him was he was bailed out of jail, and we got this from Sports Radio 810 WHB. Rashee Rice running routes today on his Instagram story, and then had the video of him running routes. I won't show the video, but do have some pictures for photo evidence, so there you go. He was on the field, it looks like at a high school facility in downtown Texas, Dallas, Texas, with Patrick Mahomes. It's where Patrick always goes to kind of get stuff going. So looks like he's back on the field, catching some passes, at least, having a little bit of work going on. And I mean, hey, it looks like he's trying to just kind of send a message in a way that's still going to keep working. Now, I said send a message. Well, he also had a song in this and on all those reels and stuff that he posted. And the song, well, that was where maybe he might be trying to send a message. Here are the lyrics of this song, and you can kind of dive into them. 48 Laws of Power by Hun XO, whatever how you say it. Quote, rule number 3, remember karma. It'll come back and bite you. Rule number 4, don't be scared to fail. You'll fail if you don't try. Rule number 5, compete with self like you are the only man alive. Gotta be focused on your goals. You can't be worried about them guys. Rule number 6, I don't care how hard it get, you gotta strive. Rule number 7, pick a side. You can't be gambling with your pride. Listen, I know people are going to read into this. I know that people are going to say that this was a chosen song, and I'm not going to fully say that maybe it wasn't. I mean, there's a possibility that he chose that song to specifically call out people and try and, I don't know what it was achieving, because he knows he did something wrong. I think he has said that multiple times. I just feel as though it's just an interesting song to put on your Instagram reel, or story rather, right after you had this whole situation unfold, and you're back on the field for the first time in over a couple months at this point. So it's kind of interesting, but I'm not going to read too much into it, but hey, it's something. Now, again, just a quick update. Josina Anderson talked about this. He is out on bond right now, or on bail, whatever you want to call it. He awaits the remainder of the legal process. He's getting sued. He's having a lot of stuff going on with the victims in that car crash as well. So a lot of things kind of still to figure out, which is why we are just kind of in the waiting game right now. It's not like we know anything new besides the fact that he's back on the field and he's running routes in some facets. So we'll have to wait, see what exactly comes of this. I truly do feel like it's going to be hard for him to play the start of the season at least. I mean, maybe it's a suspension for half the year. Part of me thinks it may be over the year. I really can't tell you. I don't want to try and sit here and act like I know what's going to happen, because I don't, and I don't think anybody knows. We just kind of have to sit here and wait on that. Let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk here for a second, because he's been the talk of not only just really the NFL, but just everything going on in general in sports for a lot of facets, because now, obviously, a trade has been mentioned before, and now saying maybe a trade could happen. Well, we actually got some odds on this, and the Chiefs, well, they're in the top 8. The Steelers are favorited there at -200, and then besides them, it kind of goes back to the Panthers, the Patriots at +600, the Cardinals at +700, the Chargers at +900, and then the Bills, Chiefs, and Giants all at +1200. So, I mean, the Chiefs have an outside shot if you're looking at these types of I guess, percentages and betting odds. So that's one way to look at it. But also, I think you have to look at this from a perspective of the San Francisco 49ers. And are they willing to trade him? Is that something they are going to do in the future? Well, if you missed it, Brandon Aiyuk's agent actually refutes reports that the wide receiver wants to trade from the 49ers. Now, this came after I don't want to say leaked report because obviously it was fake, but news came out that he was seeking a trade, and then his agent immediately said, better check your sources. That's where this whole thing is kind of coming from, and saying, hey, I don't think he's looking for a trade right now. And given that's coming from his agent, I kind of trust that more than some average middle-of-the-Joe Twitter guy. So that's just what I'm saying. That does not mean that a trade won't happen. I'm not saying that this is clearly, it's not going to happen. It just means it means he's not maybe fully seeking it right now. And while we have to sit here and kind of just play the waiting game with this as well, maybe something happens. Maybe something does come about it. Because Aiyuk obviously had the whole thing with his sister-in-law and, kind of posting that he's going to be done in San Francisco and they hadn't used him right. And then we got through the offseason to here now, and now he's not requesting a trade. He has just the 1 year on the deal. Is he better than Debo? Is he worth more than Debo? There's a lot of things for the Niners to figure out. And with that, the league just kind of waits to see, hey, is Brandon Aiyuk available? Because I guarantee you, if he is, teams will be chomping at the bit to get him. Make sure you check out Prize Picks, one of our amazing sponsors here on the Chiefs Report. You can go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using code CLNS, you're going to get a first deposit match of up to $100. Telling you, you're not going to find better daily fantasy sports than Prize Picks. They've got so many different stat types, so many different sports. It's really simple to use, and it's really fun. It makes the sports viewing experience, honestly, a lot more fun to do. So, obviously, playoffs are going on in the NBA now. The play-in tournament is officially kind of in the rear view. We're getting the playoffs set to go this weekend, so I'm getting my Moors in on a couple of guys with Tyreek Maxey and a Goblin mode there, 17.5 points. Should be a pretty easy one to hit there. And then Nikola Jokic, has the half a point little sale here for the NBA playoffs. So going the more there. And then Tobias Harris going less than 13.5 points. He looked pretty terrible in the game last night, so I'm not going to look anywhere further past that. But you can go put in these exact same ones. You can go check out what is available. They have MLB going on every single day. NHL playoffs are starting up soon. They've got those going on. Everything you could ask for is probably there on Prize Picks, and their app is so user-friendly. Once again, check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS, and using code CLNS, you're going to get a first deposit match of up to $100. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and enormous different types of stat types. You're going to be able to find the best daily fantasy sports available. Brandon Aiyuk here. All right, let's look at the stats. 1,300 yards, 75 receptions, 105 targets, 7 touchdowns. All really solid numbers this past year, and it's not something he's new to. This was his best year, obviously. Debo had some, I'm not going to call them injury problems, but was not on the field as much as he probably would have wanted to be. Aiyuk's been kind of the stable horse since he's come into the league. 2020 played 12 games, not the greatest, but still played them all. Played in those games at least. And then from there, 17, 16. I mean, this guy has been just the kind of stable guy in the wide receiver depth chart for the 49ers over the past 4 years. And he's gone up every single year. 748, 826, over 1,000, and then 1,300 this past year. Touchdowns have, been stable at 5, and then 8 and 7. Receptions have gone up. He's been really just a pretty good receiver to have on your roster. Would you want the Chiefs to trade for Brandon Aiyuk? I know the money might be a problem, but hey, I guarantee Brett Veach could work it out if it means bringing another Super Bowl champion to the Kansas City Chiefs. Type T for trade, type P for pass. Would you even want this? I know that he's kind of been a drama queen with the Niners, so is there potential that maybe you just don't want to see that? And let me know in the comment section. T for trade, P for pass. If you want to trade, we'll worry about the money later. Just let me know if you'd like that at all. Probably won't happen, but I think it's fun to talk about. I think that's the biggest thing that I try and present here on this show is obviously a lot of these things that we talk about, maybe they won't happen, but it's what's happening in the NFL. I like talking Chiefs and talking ball with y'all, so I think it's just fun to bring up. And Brandon Aiyuk has been the talk of the NFL, and we haven't really got to talk about on the Chiefs sport. Given the Chiefs need a wide receiver, bring him up, see what happens. We are 1 week away from the NFL draft, and so we are trying to sit here and think, who are the Chiefs going to take in round 1, pick number 32? At least that's the pick they have right now. Could see them trading up, could see them trading back. Well, just like Brandon Aiyuk having odds on which team he will go to, we also got odds on what exactly the Chiefs might do. Now, for them to pick a wide receiver in the first round, they're favored at minus 125. Offensive lineman plus 175, which honestly is pretty good line because offensive lineman is by far the second best one. Defensive line at plus 600 and cornerback at plus 650. And we've heard Brett Veach say, or not Brett Veach, but rumors around and sources around Brett Veach say that everything is on the table for the Kansas City Chiefs. So, I mean, hey, that's kind of interesting in that facet. So what are the first-round options for the Chiefs, and how likely are those things to hit? Well, obviously, wide receiver being the favorite. I've got 3 of them on my board of what I would like to see. A.D. Mitchell is one that I want to have. He falls 32. I had a report yesterday that he has had some trouble with a bunch of eating disorders or something like that. Potential that he might fall in the draft. A couple things that you have to watch outside of his game, so kind of interesting there. And then you have Troy Franklin, wide receiver, and then Xavier Legette, wide receiver for South Carolina. Alabama cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry is one that I definitely could see being a really, really good option if he falls 32. And then Jordan Morgan's the obvious offensive tackle pick at number 32 if you sit in there. Speaking of the draft, yesterday there was an absolutely wild trade idea for the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL draft. Now, I know that this is kind of outlandish, but I wanted to present it to you because saw it populating on Twitter yesterday and wanted to bring it up. So here's what we got from Tom Blair. Chiefs get the number 9 overall pick from the Chicago Bears, and in return they send Chicago their first-round pick at number 32, their second-round pick at number 64, their fourth-round pick at number 131, and their first-round pick next year. Holy cow. What is that trade? I mean, would it be awesome to go up to number 9? Yeah. Do the Chiefs have very few needs? Yeah. Is that a heck of a lot to give up? Also, yeah. It's wild to think that that was even a possibility, but I mean, I saw some reports. I know Charles Goldman talked about it. I might do that for Rome Odunze is kind of what he said. You know, get a wide receiver in there. You don't have a lot of positional needs. You're not going to have a ton of money next year, but I mean, you're giving up a lot more draft picks this year than next year besides that first round pick. So I don't know if I would necessarily mind it. I think the problem is it's a huge gamble. Because let's say you do that. You go to pick 1 or pick 9, and you take a Rome Odunze. Malik Neighbors falls. You take him. What happens if they don't perform well? What happens if they get hurt? You are putting all your eggs into one player's basket because you have no options after that because you're losing so many picks. Yeah, you'll still have your third-round pick, but, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff to kind of consider there with Brett Veach and the way that this team is going. You want to make sure the depth options are there. We saw some injuries this past year. I don't want to see them again, but you have to be prepared for them. So kind of an interesting idea here, but I'll open this up for debate. Would you do this? Type Y for yes if you would do this trade with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Bears. In for no if you're not doing this trade. Expecting a couple ins, but hey, we'll find out. Y for yes, in for no, would you do this trade? Charles Omenihu seems to be back in, I'm not going to say football form, but getting into that position after tearing his ACL in the AFC Championship game against the Baltimore Ravens. He put a video out on Twitter and saying, Twitter GM's question if I'm going to come back the same. And posted a little video of him getting workouts in on his injured leg, by the way. So something to note of that. But he looks like he's going to be ready to go maybe sooner than we thought. I mean, looking at this picture, and if you go look up the video, he is already looking pretty good. And I mean, you think about this. The AFC Championship game was in January. 3 months ago, that's what we're talking. That's not bad for 3 months post ACL tear, and obviously at this point, probably around 2 months post surgery, maybe a little longer than that. So, yeah, I know it's something to keep watching because he is a very big part of the defense, but I still do think we won't see him back until at least midway through the season. He would have to have an extraordinary comeback and recovery time to come back anywhere before then. We do appreciate hanging out with us here on the Chiefs Report. I know that we had a lot of stuff to kind of get to, kind of was all over the board, but I kind of like it. If you like it too, maybe hit that like button. Lets me know that you're enjoying these types of shows. We can do more of them, kind of talking about the latest around the league. Getting closer to the draft. We're going to have a lot of fun. Hit that subscribe button. We'll have more videos out on draft coverage throughout the week and weekend. And then next week, buckle up. It's draft week and no sleep till May. We'll see you then, and for now, peace out, Chiefs Kingdom.